Here's your protesters. You look good in that, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tank Tesla.
There you go.
Trump. Did they let you in? Of course. Did you manage to get inside?
I saw you
Go in the car.
inside. What did you think of the car?
Cars are pretty neutral to me. I like the idea of reusable energy.
Oh yeah, I mean there's lots of things that are very clever.
Yeah, I love that.
It's just tragic that Musk has gone so crazy and so dangerous.
Okay, so clearly we disagree. Convince me to dislike him. If you don't mind, I'm filming about it. I've just walked around the side. I hope that's okay with you.
Well, I don't know where you aren't following the news.
Yeah.
You haven't seen what he's doing.
Okay.
Supporting far-right fascists in Germany, in this country, Tommy Robinson. He's involving himself in people's democracy all around the world. But worst of all, he's funding and supporting Trump. He's been Trump's big mouth with X and everything else all through the election campaign. He is, to a significant extent, responsible for Trump now being in power. And Trump is now, with Musk, together, they're destroying democracy, the rule of law, the way that the American government functions, and they're doing at high speed what someone like Putin did over about 20 years, 15 years in Russia, turning it into a dictatorship, destroying democracy.
Out of curiosity, if there was like one biggest flaw that he's, what's the worst thing that he's doing?
That Musk is doing. Well, I think the worst thing, but it's hard to say, he's doing so much. I mean, the way he's destroying the so-called Doge business of going through American government sacking. I mean, that's completely monstrous.
But from what I've found is that they came across other people getting payouts that aren't even alive. Like you get 140.
That's complete rubbish.
You think?
It's total nonsense. They invent that stuff. It's just complete nonsense.
Well, I don't have the facts,
lies.
so I don't have the facts, but that's what I heard. So yeah, it could be a lie for all I know.
Those have been totally discredited. There's no truth in those. They just Trump and Musk lie and lie. There's no truth in what they say.
Okay. You told me that
you've got to look at something like the BBC to get facts. Don't read all the rubbish that they put out through X and through Trump's social media. Because Trump.
I remember speaking to you yesterday, and you mentioned that you used to be a fan of Musk, right?
Yeah. When he was sticking to engineering, doing SpaceX, making his cars, that was fine.
Okay,
he's
so
gone mad. He's become the world's richest person, and that gives him. He thinks he can do anything.
Okay.
He's gone from being someone. If you look 5 years ago, he was absolutely against Trump. He was absolutely against Trump. Look at what he said 5 years ago. Totally against Trump. Now he's gone completely bonkers, and he's Trump's chief supporter, and not just. Well, he's using X, this vast media, and huge sums of money to support Trump. And Trump is destroying America, literally destroying democracy in America.
Okay.
And they're doing it around the world. And they're destroying the international order. There's one basic principle of the world order developed out of the Second World War. I was a kid just after the Second World War. I can remember seeing the complete destruction of the bombs that were caused by the Second World War. The first thing I remember is the destruction in Germany where I was as a 3-year-old. And out of that destruction came this important thing that states should not have the right just to attack another country. One country from another. Well, look, do you know what Trump is doing? Trump is saying, I'm going to take over Greenland, I'm going to take over Panama, I'm going to take over Canada. He's behaving like Putin. He and Putin are speaking the same language exactly.
You see what?
This is a complete destruction.
I tell you
the
what.
whole world, everything that the Second World War was horrific. 6 million Jews killed, murdered. 14 million people died.
I tell you why.
And all the good that came out of that, the whole structure of the world order that was aimed at peace, at prosperity, at democracy, those two are destroying all that.
You know what? When Trump first came into power, which was obviously around 8 years ago, I believe. What I was fond of was that he ended wars. Because all the presidents I've seen in the past, they kept on bombing other countries and starting wars, but from what I understood from Trump, he was making peace deals, and I found that very important.
Well, the one thing that he pulled out was Afghanistan, which he did the wrong way, unfortunately.
But he did.
Well, he did, but that proved a terrible result for the Afghans. They've now been taken over by an extreme religious government, which women aren't even allowed out of doors.
But that's not Trump's doing. That's their own country's doing, isn't it? Then.
Well, part of the democracy should be trying to help people who want to be democratic to become democracies. I don't think it was the Afghan invasion 20 years ago was wrong. That was Trump's predecessors. That was the Republicans 20 years ago. But I mean, so he's threatening. Anyway, look, I'm afraid I have to get on with my task.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. But anyway, we've had a good conversation. It's really good to chat.
Yeah.
And I think you should really study what Trump is doing. He's destroying democracy in America. And he's pulling back all the good that America is doing. America is completely mixed. But it's not. It's a lot better than the alternatives. The alternatives are things like Putin in Moscow, Xi in China. Have you followed them? I mean, they're horrendous dictatorships in which we would not, in Moscow, I've worked a lot with Russian activists, human rights activists. We couldn't do this. We would be in prison. We'd have been arrested.
Yeah, I've seen the stuff that happens there.
Yeah. And in my part of the country, in Taiwan, and so we see all that's happening in China. In China, Hong Kong, they completely, 4 years ago, they totally crushed the democratic movement in Hong Kong. Thousands were put in prison. So this is the alternative. The alternative is between a Western world order of the type that was put up after the Second World War, which has lots of things wrong with it, and which terrible mistakes were made. No question about that. The invasion of Iraq, the Afghan war. Those two things were shocking and wrong, and were terrible mistakes. But they're still an awful lot better than Putin, who just kills everybody. And he's killed or injured probably like 2 million people now in the Ukraine war on the two sides, on Russia and Ukraine.
Okay.
I mean, you have to wait. You're looking at the less bad against the much worse. And Trump is a great mate of Putin's. He loves Putin. I mean, it's extraordinary. He said nothing bad. He's virtually handed Ukraine over on a plate to Putin. And Putin has invaded Ukraine. I mean, imagine if Putin was invading this country and had taken 20% of it and killed, probably several 100,000 people and destroyed most of our cities. How would you feel?
I'm not good. I'm not for murder, of course.
Yeah, but and Trump is supporting Putin, basically. He's handed Ukraine on a plate to Putin. And Putin is an appalling murderer.
Okay.
So Trump is horrendous. Read about Trump, find out just how bad he is.
Okay.
And then look at how Musk is supporting him.
Right.
He's his right-hand man. He's enabling him. And then you have to attack. The only thing we can do is attack Musk's wealth. And if we can stop him selling. In Germany, the level of Teslas being sold in Germany has fallen 60%. 60%. And Europe, across Europe as a whole, it's fallen 40%. In this country, it's gone up in the last 3 months. So we've got to stop them being sold in this country. It's the only way we can stop it. We can have Musk, and through Musk we can affect it.
Right, well, thank you for the chat.
Okay,
Take care.
very good. Cheers, then. I'm really happy to talk. Tesla dumps on.
I like that robot though.